Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us for today's webinar covering market trends from high point to the most recent high point in spring. And I'm excited to have with us today John McClain from John McClain Design. John has done many webinars and talks with us in the past, and we are so lucky to have his amazing talent and insights here with us today. John, I think at the end, we'll talk a little bit about High Point in general and what you saw going on, but maybe we'll start out by diving straight into the trends.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, it was so much fun, and we can talk about how much fun it was later. If I can remember, there was a lot of cocktails involved, Liza.
Well, then it was a good market, John.
Exactly. But yeah, I always looked for, I like for trending things versus trends. So I look for things that are trending, and I saw a lot of repeatable things happening in showrooms. Not typically showrooms that you would see the same things happening in either, which I thought was pretty interesting. So it's funny when you see a line that typically doesn't have a certain look bring in a certain look because they feel that it's something that the public is looking for. So I thought that was kind of cool to see that coming across to different brands, and especially the brands of that we shop with, and at market, like most designers, that's what we do. We go in and we hit the showrooms and the places that we shop normally for clients, and then we always try to throw in a few new places along the way. But woven accents, so we're everywhere, and we're going to talk more about that in a moment. So these are the highlights of everything. Also, wood grain and tree motifs. I saw so many wood grain motifs. I should be wearing a tree on my head right now because there was so many around market. Organic textures and curves. I love organic pieces, and they were abundant in market this year, and they were just beautiful. Florals, browns, and greens. That whole return to nature thing is still happening, and I do not see it going away. And it was everywhere at market in beautiful ways. And of course, fringe accents. I love a good fringe, and every year it just keeps growing and growing and growing to the lengths that I've never seen it before, but just in fun.
They look alive this year.
Yeah, seriously, it was like, is it 20 inches? Is it 30 inches? Is it now literally a weave on someone's hair? Like, I couldn't even tell. It was so beautiful, though. So let's dive into some specifics of what I saw at market. And so caning is probably something that we relate to the 70s, and we have seen that come back a bit more around the 2020 and 2021. We saw that emerging, and even more so now. So a lot of brands are bringing that back in a lot of different ways, a lot of fun ways. And I feel like everything that you're going to see today really does come back to this return to nature, right? So it's this return to the earth, and everything that we are showing you today and everything that I saw as a trending item were things that I felt were very earth-like and just sort of grounded us all. But these are some of the brands that I saw. And again, these are brands that might not typically have this sort of look to them, but they've decided to introduce it into their line, which I thought was really cool. So everything from Made Goods, who has vanities, and now they have this beautiful vanity with this rattan look to it. This gorgeous Arteriors mirror that I saw, which I thought was just stunning. And, you wouldn't want to put 15 of these pieces in every room. You wouldn't want an entire room full of all these bamboo and rattan pieces and caning, but one special piece, a light fixture, a chair, chairs around a dining table, a special club chair, really does just add that just beautiful warmth in a space that you just can't replicate with something that's not made of a natural material. It's just the way it is. So, and even down to I love this this cabinet from Universal Furniture as well, where they use the caning on the front of the cabinet too. So it sort of gives you a little bit of a glimpse to, what's inside of it, but just very chic. So you see this whole, woven look happening in lots of different ways. And,
Can I ask you, John? Because I actually am a 70s baby. I'll date myself, but I grew up with Marcel Breuer cane chairs in my house, and
lucky you.
It does feel like, yeah, it does feel like they kind of come back around. But one thing I've noticed is that a lot of the caning is done in an oversized weave, and curious to get your thoughts on, did you see that kind of overwhelmingly? I see in the dovetail picture a lot of oversized weaves, and whether that's something you saw kind of consistently or a mix.
It was about 50-50, frankly. Like a lot of the light fixtures would have the oversized, and as you see in this interlude chair, it was more of just trying to give the feel of that look versus having, like a complete overtake of it. But this universal caning here is very, very small, but that's necessary for for that type of furniture. But no, it was a mix, but primarily smaller, I would say. If I had to pinpoint, I would still say it's on the smaller side. Yeah, on the smaller scale side, but still very cool, still very chic. I still think there's a place for it in everybody's home in one way or the other. So check out all of the woven accent pieces. Green. All right, I've loved green forever. I feel like it's almost becoming a neutral. Frankly, it is just again, it's this return to nature. And you probably saw a lot of the paint companies who were having, that sort of their color of the year had that in it in the past couple of years, which was fun. And I think a lot of the brands now have decided to, bring that into their product line. Very smart. So your Tav is another one that I go to a lot to kind of see what they're doing. And they're a good, solid brand. They're inexpensive price wise, but they seem to be on the edge of some of the trends that are happening. So I like that they were bringing in this beautiful emerald green. Everybody from Sunpan to Century, Worlds Away, even Lillian August, Nathan Anthony, who typically doesn't really flow into that area, even had this gorgeous room set up with the wall covering and the bench, and I thought was just so striking as you come by in market. So I look for things in market that are just grab my attention as I'm either walking down the aisle and I see their showroom. And I love green, and I just kept seeing more and more and more of it. So I think that, again, you wouldn't put this necessarily in an entire room. You actually could if you wanted to, but you could bring a piece of this into a room if you're timid about it, or do one accent wall with tile. But green is definitely something that is trending still on the design front right now.
Yeah, I think to your point, right? Sherwin-Williams had evergreen fog as the color of the year last year, and so it's interesting to see these, colors make their way even further into these pieces.
Yeah, they eventually trickle down, obviously, into different parts of our industry. Some people, I did a bathroom years ago with this beautiful emerald green bathroom tile. Seriously, I did this beautiful bathroom tile that I just was in love with. I found it on a London subway, and I fell in love with it. And I was like, this is so striking. And I did that it was about 8 years ago, actually. And it was funny enough, that piece is still our number one viewed image on the web that people love to see, because I still feel like it is this return to nature and this return to just the earth and just kind of this warm grounding effect that it tends to have. Color is powerful. Let's be honest about it. It really is. All right. Wild for wood grain and tree motif. So again, I did this. This has been going on for a bit too, but it just keeps going and going and going like the bunny. It does. And now I'm seeing it in a lot of different ways. So it used to be more smaller scale, like you see this Embella bench where it has the smaller scale legs, or you might see the back of the bar stool. Now it's going much larger scale with faux bois and all the different things. So like this table from Curry and Company, which literally is a replica of a tree trunk and then a slice of a tree on top of it, which I thought was, which again, you look at this singularly and you're like, oh, really? Would I ever? And then, your mind starts to wonder and you think, yeah, sure. If I pair this with a really cool mid-century light and some funky chairs, this could be a statement dining piece or a statement kitchen room for someone.
Right. No garden gnomes that might take it in the wrong direction.
Yeah, probably not. I don't think. I've worked around a lot of stuff in the client's house, but not a garden gnome yet. But yeah. And then Oli does a great job. I always love how they incorporate this the wood grain, and they always have some sort of branch or tree effect into their designs. And they have they were featuring a darker pieces this market versus lighter pieces, which I thought was really cool. as well. I tend to personally gravitate towards the darker pieces myself. A lot of clients like the lighter ones, but I like this sort of darker look that they were going for with Ole Studio. And I've actually used this Villa in-house bar stool before, and it's stunning in person too. But the beauty of Market is I can see these here in front of me now, and everyone watching can see these. But the great thing about Market is I can go and go really deep to see okay, is this a good replication of a tree, or is it just some silly little knockoff of it? And some of these are really, really good, and frankly really, really lifelike. The Embella one I was really impressed with out of all of these, so kind of cool. This is my florals for spring. I had to do a little Devil Wears Prada reference here. So groundbreaking. No, it really is. So I know I'm kind of being a little sassy, but florals were everywhere at Market, and they are beautiful. And it is something that we all tend to go back to during the springtime. And but I was just and I couldn't even this is just a few. There were so many more that I took photos of that I couldn't even frankly get onto the slide. But everything from metal artwork that were florals to just all fabrics, of course, but just different lighting and things. So from Embella with this skirted chair, to Chelsea House now, who has this lovely little sculptural piece of art that you can place anywhere, and then a lot of the other companies too have moved in from the lighting to the fabrics. But everyone definitely was on the trend with the type of with the part of the year that we were in for Market, and definitely wanted to say, hi guys, it's springtime, let's embrace it.
Yeah, so why groundbreaking? You think it's a common every spring, or just the idea of things coming out of breaking ground for gardens and things?
Well, that was literally a line from The Devil Wears Prada where she was being sarcastic, saying, "Oh, florals for spring, groundbreaking." So this is my little sarcastic pun, but not to say that these pieces are not beautiful. They truly, truly are. But there is nothing groundbreaking about florals for spring, is my point.
Got it. And it actually made me laugh, because I was thinking, between the florals and the fringe, we could be talking about fashion instead of home fashion.
That's our next webinar. Seriously, is honestly about the fashion and the design tie-in. It is unbelievable these days how much that is affecting design. Unbelievable. Yeah, crazy.
Exactly.
All right, moving on. Talking about fringe. So again, fringe started making its way into a lot of different pieces other than just furniture in design years ago. But it just keeps growing and growing, and it was everywhere at Market this time. Again, from ottomans to chairs to light fixtures. Again, there were so many that I only chose the ones that I saw here. I mean, this first one kind of reminds me of the thing that kind of cleans the ice at the ice skating rinks. Not that it's ugly. I'm just saying it just reminds me of that. But I wanted to show it because there's so many opportunities to try different to experiment in different ways with fringe and to really try it. And that's what companies are doing now. And they're not just sticking with the simple 5 or 6 inch trim of fringe. They're really going overboard with it and making it something different and making it a statement piece. You look at every one of these pieces, and what do you see? Statement piece on every single one of these pieces. So you put one of these in a room, and your eyes are going to go right to it. Could you use one of these, Liza?
That chaise was really eye-catching.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's crazy. I love it. I love it when furniture designers step outside the box and try something new rather than just copying everybody else. So I applaud this company. I've never purchased from this company personally, but I applaud them. And you know what? It stopped me. I saw it. I was like, all right, let's see what this is about. Organic textures, curves, and lines. And also the textures are sort of like nature textures, mushroom and bark-like textures with this whole biophilic design. We've talked about biophilic design for a long time. This whole, again, return to nature and just being, part of the earth and bringing the inside out, outside in, I should say. And that's what these pieces are. So the first one looks uncomfortable. It's actually not. I've sat in it. It actually is comfortable, but I just thought it was so cool. And that it almost feels like it is growing up from the earth. It feels like it was, it's rattan, actually, back to the other trend that we were talking about. But I like that it just feels and it looks in person literally like someone took it, and they did, and wove all these pieces together. And I like that it's a little light and airy to it as well. So that whole handmade look, that handmade feel, and that natural feel is very evident in that piece. So it actually is very comfortable. The interlude piece I put on here because of the fabric itself. The fabric has this sort of mushroomy bark-like texture to it. So it's like this really cool texture on the fabric that I thought harkened to nature a bit. And then as you move around the pieces, some of them are very blatant, you know, why they are biophilic design. The Arterior's mirror, it feels like almost like an amoeba that they've kind of put together for turned it into a mirror. And then the Phillips collection always does a great job with their live edge and their wooden pieces. So these were a few of the showrooms that I found that had this particular trend. But again, these are everywhere, and most showrooms are embracing this whole biophilic design trend. And organic is very popular right now. You like these?
I do. It's interesting, the pallet check chair that you were talking about. It does look hand woven. It also looks like it could be an outdoor piece. You know, I think there's a lot of that feel. Maybe because it's such a woven piece, but it looks like it could have been designed for indoor or outdoor.
Well, you know, that whole blurring of the lines between the inside and outside, it really is a thing, and even down to fabrics these days. And pallet check is great about you know, being able to do that. So yeah, it actually probably could be both. Now that I think about it, I can't remember if I saw this in their outdoor or indoor collection, but they're really, really good about, you know, intermixing those pieces. Brown is back, everybody. Grays have gone bye-bye. And I really don't think that browns have ever really went away completely, because everything that I ever did with gray, I always had a brown undertone to it. So it always had this warmth to it. But I feel brown is back because finally the brands are embracing it. And it has, and again, it does, think about everything we've shown has this earthy warmth to it. And that's what the brands are showing us here. So everything from little bar stools to side tables to these beautiful wood grain pieces like this cabinet from Arteriors to this gorgeous vignette that Row Furniture did. I just was happy to see, frankly, that the brown has come back, and it's not stodgy. It's not, you know, what your grandma had. It's not this old outdated feel to it. It does have this warmth to it. And, you know, it's almost has this, almost has like a red, or almost like a reddish tint to it, which I thought was kind of interesting too, which I feel is how it's modernized a bit from where it was years ago, which I feel is a little bit fresher for now.
It makes sense, and you know, we're seeing that in architecture too, kind of that move away from the gray wood tones, you know, in interiors and beams and ceilings, back towards the warmer wood tones.
Yeah.
In design.
There's one, oh my God, Liza, there's a morning show, and I'm not going to name their name. They know who they are, and it's a national morning show. They have this horrible gray and white tile on their floor, and it wasn't even that long ago when they put it down, and I don't know if they bought it on clearance. I have no idea. But the minute they put it down, I was like, it's outdated. I don't even know why they're still using it. And now it's even really far outdated, because it's this really cool gray. I don't mean cool gray. I mean like cool tone gray.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, cold toned, and so it's not cool. So you guys need to get rid of that. If you're watching,
you should send them a note. You should send them a note.
I think I may just get on a writing campaign to get rid of that floor, because it bothers me every time I watch my news.
You're like, people need comfort in the morning. You're just giving them cold.
Exactly. So those are my trends for market. I know you're going to move into this section, but those were the things that I found for market. And I know we can talk about, you know, other things that you would like to chat about.
Yeah, well, I was just interested, you know, to hear, you know, what were people talking about? What was the vibe like for folks that didn't make it? Give us some color apart from it sounds like fabulous cocktailing that's happened. Maybe it'd be fun to hear about your favorite furniture piece. Like, was there one thing that really stood out to you where you were like, I got to put this in a design somewhere because I love it so much. Curious to see if anything really moved you. And then, yeah, what was the vibe like? What issues were people talking about? You know, what's happening in the world?
Yeah, you know, it was almost like the bird cage had been left open, and all the birdies had flown out and were just hugging and flying around in the sky and enjoying. Everybody was so happy. Everybody, like the last market was good, I feel, but I feel like this one, everybody could truly exhale. I don't know. There was an energy there that was just like, oh my God, are you? Everybody was happy. Everybody was like energetic. Everybody, and I know we said that at last market, but truly this one was to the point of, I don't know. My back was sore from hugging so many people in a good way, but it was wonderful. So I felt like everybody was, back on track. I felt like most people that I spoke with had lots of fabulous projects happening, which was cool. And they had lots of great clients that they were, working with, and lots of past projects they were getting ready to photograph, which now they can actually photograph them. So there was just this wonderful energy, I feel. And I feel like the whole supply chain thing was not a discussion anymore. That really wasn't permeating the conversations like it was in the past, which thank God. I was so tired of talking about that and having to endure that. And I know we all were, but yeah, it was just a freedom. It felt like the old days, frankly. It felt like the old days when we could just go and, enjoy ourselves, enjoy each other's company. The panels were fantastic. There was, and this may be just because I was part of a lot of panels talking about this, but there was a lot of interest, I feel, in the business side of design this time. And I thought that was really intriguing. So a lot of people were more so interested in like running their businesses and running them efficiently and running them profitably versus, and just the design part of it. Because there was a lot more panels and a lot more discussions now about just the operational side of businesses, big or small design firms, and from one person to 20 people. So I thought that was great, and I'm glad that we're opening up that conversation.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I know there's so many more business models these days that it makes a lot of sense that folks are kind of taking a look. And yeah, with the different supply chain pressures and everything going on today, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense to have.
Yeah, but as far as when I see something that I sort of do I do the main aisle test. So I'm walking and I turn to do my peripheral and I do this and I look to side to see if there's something outside of the norm, right, that catches my attention. So there was this company, and the name escapes me at the moment, but only because it's a rep company, so they rep a lot of different lighting lines. I'll find it and send it over to you. But they had this beautiful fabric. It was fabric that was sort of like swirled around a center fixture and turned into a sconce, and it was sort of hardened metallic fabric and this like undulating swirls. It was just gorgeous, like almost like literally made me stop in my tracks, which is hard to do these days in design, right? Because I feel like we've seen so many things, and I was just like, I have to stop and talk to these people, because that is a really interesting feature, and it's a product, and it's hard to bring new features into design, I feel, these days that we haven't seen before. So that was one that was really heart stopping for me, and I probably spent like 35 minutes in the booth or so talking to them about products. So it was great.
That's super. Well, it sounds like you're really fired up from your experience there, and that it was energizing, and I hope it was energizing for everybody that went. I know this will be energizing for folks. What I was going to do is just take 2 minutes and just give folks kind of an update, because so much good new stuff has been coming out for Houzz Pro for designers, which I know you've been taking advantage of. The first, we've been released our new room planner tool and have been adding a lot of great improvements to it. The ability to put mood boards and floor plans and adjust the sizes of everything on the canvas, so you can really do a beautiful presentation, allow clients to kind of see the budget progress, approve and decline right from the room plan, and then quickly convert those plans into estimates, invoices, or purchase orders. Lots happening there. And then lots of clipper improvements. So, the clipper is the workhorse of Houzz Pro. And we've added a couple of cool things that I just was going to mention to folks. So one is, when you're clipping from a site, it will automatically save some key fields for the next product that you clip there. It says, oh, you're on the same site, so we're going to keep the same project room markup and even room plans. So you actually have the ability to clip something directly to a room plan. So you can change it if you want, but it should save a ton of time so that you don't have to fill out those fields over and over again if you're clipping multiple products from the same site. And it also is saving URLs automatically, so that if you do clip a product and you have questions or you need to go back, it's much easier to navigate your way back. So just some updates. We're constantly making updates. And taking feedback and from all the designers in the community, and actually counting it and working on the things that we get the most questions about. So if you're out there and you're using Houzz Pro and there's something that you want or an improvement that you want, it definitely makes sense to chat it to us. Send it in any number of ways, but we are actually paying very close attention to that feedback.
And can I just say something? Like I know I've spoken with you offline saying that I've been sort of forced to make myself personally, because I've had an admin down, everybody. So I had to go in and get more familiar on a one-on-one basis with Houzz Pro, and I knew the highlights and I knew what we did, but I think what I'm trying to say is, if you're a business owner and whether you're a one-person show or whether you have 5, 10, 15 employees underneath you, it would behoove you to just go in there and spend an hour or so a day just kind of plunking around and seeing things, because there's so many things in there that I found that has now saved us so much time that I've worked into our systems and processes. And it's just like, why wasn't I doing those specific things before? We were doing a lot of them, but not those specific things. So I just wanted to mention that to people who might not be knowing all the things that Houzz Pro has, because there's a lot.
I appreciate that. And I was very proud and excited of you, John, for diving in hands on yourself. And actually, you're like, wait, there's tools we haven't been using and now we're using them. And I was so super excited because it's very easy. You've got your set process, you've got the things that have worked, but we are coming out with a lot of new stuff all the time. And so, we're here to help. We've got lots of tutorials and, chat client service right in the tool. So if folks have questions or wondering what's new, and we can send it out too, but we actually have a what's new releases page in Houzz Pro Learn, so that you can actually go and say, what have I missed, and read and catch up what's happened over the last few months. So
what I do? I have a little Slack channel, and on my Slack channel, I have a Houzz Pro helpful tip channel. So I just saw that came out, and I told my team, I said, hi, look at the newest updates. Here they are. And I put that into the Slack channel, and then everyone thumbed up that they read it. So that's how I've kind of put that information out in front of my team, for a little tip for, people who think they're too busy to shoot out information to everybody.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Do you have, people always want to know how can I be efficient at market? Like, what tips do you have? Like, what's your process for getting to everything at market? Because I know it gets overwhelming. It's hard to see everything, right? You're shuttling, you're walking, you're everywhere. What do you do?
Well, you have to have a plan. I mean, I'm sorry, you have to have a plan. So we literally have a spreadsheet that we have, and on that spreadsheet is, again, the people that we know we want to see, the showrooms that we know we want to visit, and it may not be for a specific project. It just is that we go and visit them because we like their product. So we have our little spreadsheet of our definite must-sees, and then we make appointments with the ones that we definitely must see as well. Now, then we have a little time built in for walking, having lunch, having cocktails, all those things too, which is, you have to think about that, because there's all sorts of time you have to build in from going. It's a big area. So plan your time accordingly, going from point A to point B. And then as much as possible, try to make appointments ahead of time and try to keep those appointments as close as you can physically to each other. And then, of course, High Point rolls into the evening with dinner parties and so forth. So prepare for that. If you need to go home and take a disco nap before you come out and go back out to dinner with your friends or with the colleagues, then plan for that too. So it's just again, it's totally exhausting. But if you do plan ahead of time, we're so good. We actually do a PowerPoint presentation after market of what we found that we liked. And then we have that for every year that we went, to show what we saw and what we liked and what we plan on showing to clients for their projects too.
That's awesome. Yeah, our buying team does the same thing. Big spreadsheet, trying to put the appointments near each other, but it doesn't always work out. So that can always be a fun sprint. But yes, the building in time for lunch and a little downtime and comfortable shoes. are
Definitely.
always my tips.
Definitely. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, John. This was really fun, and I hope we can do it again next market.
I think we can. Thanks, Liza.
Yeah, take care.